it is a slick social media campaign that Zohran Mamdani ran, which got him this historic win. This is the first time he's the youngest mayor for one of the most diverse cities in the US. Obviously, he ran on a campaign plank, which obviously did not even win him support from some of his Democratic Party elders. But he has won the race, and obviously now from here on it remains to be seen. He got an overwhelming number. And if you saw, and I followed his campaign very, very closely. So what was different, if you see, from his campaign was that he did a very unconventional style of campaign, going to discos, reaching out to young people through a slick social media campaign, making sure that he not only attacked U.S. President Donald Trump, who's a Republican, but also did not mince words of attacking even people from within his own party. So it remains to be seen. Also, he has a strong, connection with India. He's son of Meera Nair, who's acclaimed filmmaker as well. And he got a support, let me tell you, from a lot of Indian Americans, a lot of Asian immigrants who are there in New York City. New York City is one of the most diverse cities, as I said earlier, has a lot of immigrants from different countries, has a lot of Latino, and Zohran Mamdani got a lot of support. Even though Andrew Cuomo, who was his main rival, who's incidentally was earlier a Democratic governor of New York, did not get support because a lot of people dubbed him as a pro-establishment. In fact, U.S. President Donald Trump, which is very ironical, instead of supporting the Republican nominee, he in some ways asked people to vote for Andrew Cuomo, which obviously did not find favor with the voters. And you saw a resounding victory by Zohran Mamdani. And besides Zohran, obviously, he's a big headline here in the U.S. The other two, candidates for the governors, they are Democrats too. So I would say after some long time, Democrats in the U.S. Finally have got a booster shot of sorts. Shivangi?
Yes. Also, I just also want you to help our viewers understand why this is important, because he's the first Muslim mayor of New York City, the first Indian American and South Asian heritage mayor of New York City, one of the youngest mayors of New York City in a century. He's around 34 years of age. According to you, does this really speak about what the demographic, or the new demographic of New York City really wants out of its leaders? How do you read this?
Absolutely. I've been talking to a lot of young voters. In fact, I want to make a pure, I would say, admission here. Even a veteran political journalist like me, I caught on to Zohran taking this kind of a surge a bit late. I spoke to a lot of younger observers, including my son who is in college, who in fact told me much earlier that there is a resounding undercurrent building for Zohran Mamdani even before he won the primaries of the Democratic Party. So there was an undercurrent, as I said, amongst the young voters. I know, for instance, a lot of people, a lot of youngsters who work in bars, cabbies in New York, they rooted for Zohran Mamdani because obviously this is the style of campaigning. And I would say that in some ways it's a new way of campaigning done through social media, and he got a connect of the voters very well. That's the reason why he's got this historic victory. And I would say that this is a template going forward. Not only politicians in the US, but I reckon many young politicians across the globe will try to imitate the template he had. And clearly his campaign was very electric, made sure that he resonated. Yes, he made certain controversial points. Sometimes it was ill-informed as well. And I would now expect that now that he has been elected the mayor of New York, he represents all the New Yorkers, certainly there will be some kind of tapering down of that. And as they say, any campaign, you make statements when you are campaigning, but when you occupy that position, obviously you will be a different person. How much of a turnaround he will have and how much of a I would say, face-off that he will have with the US President Donald Trump, who hails from the city, remains to be seen. Even though President Trump has said that if he was elected, he will reconsider federal funding to the city. How much that really pans out, you have to wait and watch, because sometimes I've seen in the past a lot of candidates, when they get elected, especially as important a city in some ways, which is a global financial capital like New York, you really have to make sure that you need that federal funding, and he may have to do that diplomatic act to do well, to work with President Trump as well.
All right. Thank you for joining us, Saurabh.